Hi dear students, this presentation is from the first module of the subject Advanced Energy Engineering. In the last presentation we have discussed hydroelectric power plant, and in this presentation we will be discussing about diesel power plant. Okay, as the name indicates itself, it is working on the diesel engine. Okay, the prime mover for the diesel power plant is nothing but the multi-cylinder turbocharged diesel engine. Okay, very high power is to be generated, so the size of this engine will be very high, and also usually it will be multi-cylinder. Lot of engines will be connected in parallel so as to generate the power. So the mechanical energy available from the diesel engine will be connected to a generator so that we will be able to produce the electricity required. That is what is happening. You can see from the figure itself. You can see this center portion is the multi-cylinder. This portion is the multi-cylinder turbocharged diesel engine. So a lot of engines will be connected in parallel. So the total output power will be from the power from the each cylinder summed together. So this is working. Usually the engine will be 4-stroke diesel engine. So we require to provide the fuel into the cylinder or the engine. So for that we will have a fuel supply line. Here you can see the fuel storage tank. Large amount of fuel required is stored here, and using a pump it is pumped to the service tank, or we will call it as day tank. This one is a service tank or day tank. So using a pump, the diesel is pumped and stored small quantity of diesel which is required for the required to run the power plant for the 1 day is stored in the service tank. Usually in the fuel storage tank we will have lot of fuel stored there. From there the fuel, whatever fuel is required to run the power plant for a particular day is stored in the service tank. So from the service tank the fuel is supplied to the engine through this line. Okay, so to each engine the separately the fuel will be supplied through the fuel injector system. Fuel pump will be there, so fuel pump will be pumping the fuel into the cylinder. Okay, so inside the cylinder what happens is hot air will be there. Usually the air will be sucked from the atmosphere. During the suction stroke, air will be entering into the cylinder of the engine. So after suction is complete, what happens is compression takes place, and at the end of the compression the fuel is injected into the cylinder and combustion is taking place. Ignition system will be there to ignite the fuel. So after combustion, due to the end effect of the combustion and combustion products, the piston inside the cylinder will be pushed backward, and the mechanical energy is generated. That to and fro motion is converted into the rotary motion, and that rotary motion of the shaft is in turn connected to the generator. So usually in automobiles what happens is usually in automobile what is happening, same thing is happening here also, but only difference is in automobile the rotation provided from the combustion of the fuel and air is supplied to the wheels of the automobile, whereas here the rotary motion of the shaft is connected to the generator. That is the only difference. So rest everything will be same. So an air supply system also will be there. You can see an air compressor here. This is only for the cold starting purposes. So when the engine is to be started, because as I have already told, this is a huge structure, so starting is a tedious process. So in order to start the engine initially we will be using compressed air, very high compressed air. For that, air compressor will be there, and compressed air will be stored here. During the starting time the compressed air is supplied into the cylinder at a very high pressure and very high temperature. Once the compressed air enters into the cylinder, the fuel is directly injected and the engine is automatically started. For that purpose only this air compressor and compressed air is used. And of course there will be a cooling water supply in every engine so as to cool the head, and for the safety of the valves also we will be providing the cooling water. You might have seen in every automobile engines also the same cooling water will be there. So here also we will be using the cooling water line for the cooling purpose of the head as well as the cylinder head as well as the valves of the engine. So here you can see that line. See, hot water from the engine after combustion is coming out and it is pumped to the spray tank, and from the spray tank what happens is cooling. Actually it is either it will be the cooling tower or spray tank. where the heat of the cooling water, hot water, is given away to the cooling water. Then so the temperature of the hot water is reduced and it is again recirculated into the engine cylinder. That is what is happening. And also you know that for the proper functioning of the components of moving components of the engine without friction, there requires the lubricating oil. Here you can see the inner portion, you can see the lubricating oil system. So hot oil from the engine is taken out and it is passed through the oil cooler. In the oil cooler, the temperature of the oil is getting reduced and it is again recirculated into the cylinder. So this inner portion, inner circuit is for the lubricating oil and the outer circuit is for the cooling water circuit. And inside the cylinder, what is happening, that you all knowing very well. This is nothing but the 4-stroke diesel engine. Okay, so that's all about the diesel power plant. Only difference between thermal power plant and diesel power plant is, in thermal power plant, the heat energy from the fuel is converted into heat energy from the fuel is utilized to produce the very high pressure steam, and steam in turn is used to rotate the turbine. Here directly we are getting the power from the combustion of the diesel. So here since diesel engine is used as the prime mover, that's why it is called diesel power plant. The rest is same. The rotary motion available at the end of the shaft of the engine is connected to the generator or generator, so the power is produced, electricity is produced. So this is the simplified layout or figure of the diesel power plant. A lot of figures are available in the net and all. If you require, if it seems you require the better figure, you can go for it. That also is okay. This is the simplest one. That's why I have shown here. Now, a generating station is in which diesel engine is used as the prime mover for the generation of the electrical energy is known as diesel power station. The air and fuel are mixed inside the engine and the charge is ignited due to the high compression inside the engine cylinder. This high compression is actually produced by the upward movement of the piston, that you will be knowing. After suction, air is entering. What happens is, during the next stroke, the piston will be moving upward. During that time, air trapped inside the cylinder is getting compressed. Into that high compressed air, we are injecting the fuel. The basic principle is that thermal energy by combustion is converted to mechanical energy, which in turn is converted to electrical energy. So after combustion, what happens is the chemical energy of the fuel is converted into mechanical energy and it is transferred to the piston. Piston will be moving backward to and fro. So that to and fro motion is converted into rotary motion, and the shaft of the engine is rotated using that rotary motion, which in turn is connected to the generator. So electricity is being produced. In a diesel power station, diesel engine is used as the prime mover. The diesel burns inside the engine and the products of the combustion acts as the working fluid to produce the mechanical energy. The diesel engine drives the alternator which converts the mechanical energy into electrical energy, either alternator or generator. Now moving on to the components of the diesel power plant. The main component is engine itself. For electric power generation, 4-stroke engines are predominantly used. Horizontal engines are used for comparatively smaller outputs, while vertical engines with multi-cylinder constructions are used for large output. It is generally directly coupled to the generator. So, if you want to produce only lower powers, then we will be using horizontal engines. When we require higher powers, you will be going for the vertical engines. Okay. Usually, the engine will be 4-stroke engine. Okay, air supply system. The next important one is the air supply system. Air from the atmosphere after filtering is admitted into the engine. In large plants, supercharger. What is supercharger? Supercharger is actually the compression of the air before supplying into the engine cylinder. That is what is known as supercharger. Using a compressor, we will be compressing the air that is entering into the engine cylinder. What will be the advantage of compressing? Once we are compressing means we will be able to supply more air into the engine cylinder. That means more fuel can be burned at a time and work output usually will be very high. Use an air compressor that increases the pressure of the air supplied to the engine so that more fuel is burned and do more work. Or sometimes the air supply system will be using turbochargers. What is the difference between supercharger and turbocharger? See, in supercharger, the power for the compression of the air or compressor power is we are getting from the outside source, but here in turbochargers, what happens is the power from the exhaust gas is utilized. Actually, the exhaust gas is having very high temperature. that thermal energy of the exhaust gas is converted into mechanical work, and that work is utilized to compress the that work is utilized to run the compressor to compress the air. So that is the only difference. So in case of supercharger, we will be depending on the external power for the running of the compressor, whereas in the turbocharger the power available from the exhaust gas is useless, so there is no need of extra power. That is the only difference. So sometimes turbochargers also will be used. Actually, turbocharger uses an air compressor driven by the exhaust gases to compress the air supplied to the engine, increasing the amount of the fuel and air fed into the engine, and hence more efficient. Is used to increase the output power. So usually the air supply system includes a filter will be there. Atmospheric air will be sucked into the cylinder due to the low pressure inside the cylinder. Before entering into the cylinder, the air is to be passed through the air filter so as to remove the impurities and all. Then it is either it will be passed through the supercharger or turbocharger. Whether it is supercharger or turbocharger, whatever it may be, actually what happens is air before entering into the cylinder is getting compressed, so that density is increased, so more amount of air is able to enter into the cylinder. That means more fuel can be burned at a time, so the work output can be increased. So that is the air supply system. Coming to the next one, that is exhaust system. After combustion, we know that due to the in the combustion process, what happens is chemical energy is converted into mechanical energy, or chemical energy, high heat is generated. So due to the effect of the combustion process, the piston inside the cylinder will be moving backward. So the work is utilized by the piston for its movement. So after combustion, the combustion products or exhaust gas will be there, that is being directly fed into the discharged into the atmosphere. So for that one system is required, that is what is known as the exhaust system, used to discharge the engine exhaust to the atmosphere outside the building. This includes the silencers. Usually the exhaust gas is passed through the silencers, and of course connecting duct will be there. The temperature of the exhaust gas is sufficiently high, therefore heat of the exhaust gas many times is used for heating the oil or air supplied to the engine. See, we know that after combustion the temperature of the exhaust gas is very high, so this wasted energy can be utilized for some useful purposes. As we have seen in the other power plants, the air supplied into the we can use this high temperature exhaust gas. Heat from the exhaust gas can be utilized to preheat the air entering into the combustion chamber or into the cylinder, so that also can be used. So only thing we require is the heat exchanger. If you provide a heat exchanger with the incoming air, then we can some amount of heat can be transferred to the air entering into the cylinder. That is what is known as preheating. That also is possible. Another useful application of the high heat content of the exhaust gas is we can use it for the power generation. See, by the using exhaust power, we can run a turbine, just like a gas turbine we can run. So gas turbine is nothing but it runs on the combustion products. So when the gas expands inside the turbine, power is produced. So the shaft of the turbine is connected to the compressor, then it becomes a turbocharger. So that compressor will compress the air entering into the cylinder. So that acts as a what we can, not supercharger, turbocharger. That acts as the system will act as a turbocharger. Okay, so that are the useful applications of the exhaust gas. Either we can directly discharge with high temperature exhaust gas into the atmosphere through the silencer, otherwise we will be utilizing the heat content for these two purposes, either for the preheating of the air or for the turbocharging purposes. Both is applicable. So that includes the exhaust system. Then comes the fuel system. It includes the storage tank. As I have already explained these things, it includes there will be a large storage tank will be there. Then fuel pump. Fuel pump pumps the fuel into the fuel transfer pump. Then comes strainer and heater. The fuel is supplied to the engine according to the load on the plant. Okay, so whatever fuel is required is depending on the load on the power plant. If you want to produce more power, means more fuel is to be supplied into the engine. So accordingly the system will be arranged. Okay, so from the fuel tank it is passing through, see, you can see from the figure here, from the fuel storage tank, fuel pump will be there, then it is stored in the service tank. From there it is passing on to the cylinder using a fuel pump as well as fuel injector. At the end of the fuel pump we will have the fuel injector that will be injecting the fuel with very high pressure, and atomization will be taking place there. itself, and mixing of the fuel inside the cylinder also will take place. Everything is known to you, so there is no need to explain much. Then comes the cooling system. This is a system includes the water circulating pumps, cooling towers or spray ponds, and water filtration plant. The purpose of the cooling system is to carry the heat from the engine cylinder to keep the temperature of the cylinder in safe range and extend its life. ഇപ്പോൾ നമുക്കറിയാം എൻജിൻ്റെ ഇൻസൈഡ് ദ എൻജിൻ ദ ഹൈ ഹീറ്റ് ഈസ് ജനറേറ്റഡ്, സോ ഓട്ടോമാറ്റിക്കലി the heat is conducted to the outside of the cylinder. So at the cylinder head we will have the valve mechanism and all. So the temperature outside the cylinder is to be reduced somehow. For that we will be using cooling water. Cooling water will be circulated through the jackets of the cylinder. So through the separate paths will be there. Through that separate jackets, cooling water is circulating, so it will help to reduce the temperature of the cylinder, outside temperature of the cylinder, so that the other mechanical parts are kept safely. Okay, so that cooling water, after carrying the heat from the cylinder, will be directly passing on to the either to the cooling tower or to the spray ponds. Cooling tower we have explained in the earlier case. Cooling tower means some water circulating arrangement will be there. Through that the cooling hot water from the engine will be circulated, so that the heat from the hot water is transferred to the cooling tower water, so the hot water becomes cool, and that is again circulated into the cylinder. That is all. In the case of spray pond also same thing is happening, only difference is through the pipes hot water will be passing through some series of pipes. Over that pipes water is sprayed in the atomic form, so that once it is sprayed as the droplets. So using the heat from the hot water, this droplets of the water will be atomized, so where phase change will be taking place. So that heat required for that phase change, latent heat is actually it is deriving from this hot water, so the hot water temperature will become less. So that is the working of this spray pot. Okay, anyway, whatever may be the system used, our purpose is to just cool the water coming out from the engine cylinder. So once it is cooled, it is recirculated into the cylinder back itself. That is the cooling system. Okay, now comes the important one, that is the lubrication system. As we know, there are a lot of moving parts inside the cylinder as well as outside the cylinder, so everything is to be protected from the friction. So in order to avoid the friction, we will be using the lubricating oils. So lubricating oil is to be circulated continuously into the cylinder, into the engine. So once it is circulated into the engine, it will be getting hotter, so it has to be cooled for recirculation. For that cooling, some heat exchangers also will be provided, and coolant will be provided to cool the lubricating oil. That system is the lubricating system. Now comes the starting system. See, this includes the compressed air tank. The function of this system is to start the engine from the cold by supplying the compressed air. See, initially starting of this massive engine is very difficult, so cranking and all is not possible. So what we will do is we will be using the high compressed air at a very high pressure and temperature is initially supplied into the cylinder. To that compressed air we will be providing we will be injecting the fuel, so that the combustion will initially take place. Once the initial combustion take place, the piston is moved backward, means then during the next stroke automatically the compression of the air will take place. So only for the starting purpose we will be using this one. Then comes the governing system, that is not shown in the figure, but always every system will have a governing system, since it is depending on the load on the line. So every fluctuation, if you want to produce the continuous power at the continuous electricity at the equal frequency, then load on the system should be equal. If there is fluctuation on the load, we have to adjust the fuel supply and all. For that governing system is used. The function of the governing system is to maintain the speed of the engine constant irrespective of the load on the plant. This is done generally by varying the fuel supply to the engine according to the according to the load we will be varying the fuel supply, so that we can maintain the speed of the system. So for that governing system is also used, that is not shown in the figure. Anyway, it is the component of the diesel power plant. So coming to the advantages of the diesel power plant. Design layout of the diesel power plant is simple and cheap. See, it is very easy. It is compared to the hydroelectric power plant. You know that the initial erection and all is very difficult, and it is time consuming as well as the cost wise also it is very difficult. But here design and layout of the diesel power plant is simple and cheap. Only we require is the directly inbuilt diesel engines are required, that's all. Part load efficiency diesel power plant is very high. See, part load efficiency means Usually the diesel engine it can start very quickly, and whenever we need it we can stop it also, there is no issues. But if you think about the steam power plant, starting and stopping of the power plant is using the coal is very difficult. So large amount of coal is burned at a time. So starting and stopping is very difficult. But here there is no such efficiency. So part load efficiency of diesel power plant is very high. Diesel power plant can be started quickly. Maintenance cost of the diesel power plant is easy. Thermal efficiency of the diesel is quite higher than the steam power plant. See, the losses and all will be less, and complete combustion will be taking place. That means diesel power plant will be more efficient than the steam power plant. It can also be designed for the portable use. So wherever we require, we can install it. There is no issues. See, diesel is available everywhere. Anyway, transportation system is there, so we can implement it anywhere. Unlike the hydroelectric power plant, it is designed. It is portable also. Even it is portable also. Small power plants we can carry from one place to another place. നമ്മൾ ഈ പ്രോഗ്രാംസ് ഒക്കെ നടക്കുമ്പോൾ ജനറേറ്റർ ഉണ്ടല്ലോ, അതന്നെ അതേപോലെ സംഭവമാണ്. ജസ്റ്റ് ഡീസൽ വെച്ചിട്ട് പവർ ജനറേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുക, അത്രയേ ഉള്ളൂ സംഭവം. ഡയറക്റ്റ് അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു ആക്ച്വലി ഈ പ്രോഗ്രാംസ് ഒക്കെ നടക്കുന്നത് നമ്മൾ വലിയ വണ്ടിയിൽ കൊണ്ടുവരുന്ന ജനറേറ്റർ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന സാധനം ഈ ഡീസൽ പവർ പ്ലാന്റിൻ്റെ ഒരു മിനിയേച്ചർ എന്ന് പറയേണ്ടി വരും. ഓക്കെ, ഡീസൽ പ്ലാന്റ്സ് ക്യാൻ ബി ലൊക്കേറ്റഡ് വെരി നിയർ ടു ദ ലോഡ് സെൻറ്റേഴ്സ്. എവിടെ വേണമെങ്കിലും നമുക്ക് ഇൻസ്റ്റാൾ ചെയ്യാം. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് അനദർ അഡ്വാൻറ്റേജ്. Now coming to the disadvantages of the diesel power plant, the cost of diesel is very high compared to the coal. Hence the running cost of this plant is higher compared to the steam and hydroelectric power plant. See, coming to the running cost is very high. നമ്മൾ ഇനീഷ്യൽ ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ്മെൻറ്റും ഇനീഷ്യൽ എറക്ഷൻ കോസ്റ്റൊക്കെ ലോ ആണെങ്കിലും റണ്ണിങ് കോസ്റ്റ് എന്താണ് ലോങ് ടേമിൽ നോക്കുമ്പോൾ കോസ്റ്റ് ഈസ് ഹൈ. റണ്ണിങ് കോസ്റ്റ് ഈസ് വെരി ഹൈ കമ്പയർഡ് ടു ദി especially to the hydroelectric power plant, and more to the slightly higher compared to the coal power plant also. Steam power plant also. What is the reason? See, the cost of coal is very cheap compared to the cost of the diesel. That's the reason. പിന്നെ ഹൈഡ്രോയിലക്ട്രിക് പവർ പ്ലാന്റ് ആണെങ്കിൽ പിന്നെ ഇറക്ഷൻ കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ പിന്നെ നമുക്ക് ചിലവില്ല, ഫ്യൂൽ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ കൺസെപ്റ്റേ അവിടെ ഇല്ല. അപ്പോൾ അതുകൊണ്ട് അതെപ്പോഴും ലോങ് ടേമിൽ അത് അഡ്വാൻറ്റേജ് തന്നെയാണ്. ദർ ഇസ് ലിമിറ്റേഷൻ ഫോർ ദ സൈസ് ഓഫ് ദ ഡീസൽ എഞ്ചിൻ. ദർ ഇസ് എ ലിമിറ്റേഷൻ ഫോർ ദ സൈസ് ഓഫ് ദ ഡീസൽ എഞ്ചിൻ. നമുക്ക് എത്ര വലിയ എഞ്ചിൻ ഉണ്ടാക്കാൻ പറ്റില്ല. അപ്പോൾ ഒന്നുകിൽ നമുക്ക് എന്ത് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും, കുറേ എഞ്ചിൻസ് പാരലലി കണക്ട് ചെയ്യാനേ പറ്റും. So there is a limitation for the size of the diesel engine. Noise pollution is very high. That is another disadvantage. High maintenance and lubrication cost is there as far as diesel engine is concerned. ഇതൊന്നും ബാക്കിയില്ല അധികം വരുന്നതല്ല. ലൂബ്രിക്കേറ്റിംഗ് കോസ്റ്റ് ഒന്നും സ്റ്റീം പവർ പ്ലാന്റിൽ എവിടെയും ലൂബ്രിക്കേഷൻ ഒന്നും വരുന്നില്ല. ഹൈഡ്രോ ഇലക്ട്രിക്കിലും വളരെ കുറച്ച് മാത്രമേ വരുന്നുള്ളൂ. പക്ഷേ high maintenance and lubrication cost will be there in case of diesel power plant. Capacity of the diesel power plant is limited and life is less. Capacity is limited and life is less. These are all the disadvantages of the diesel power plant. Okay, thank you for this one. Thank you for today. In the next presentation we will be discussing the nuclear power plant, I think. Okay, so see you in the next presentation.